Hello there, everybody. I'm mrgameandpie, and welcome to Minecrafting Episode 2. And today, I have a special guest with me.
Oh, hello everyone. I am Austin on Sugar, and I'm here as well because I tend to guest on stuff that Mr. Game and Pie does on a regular basis.
Yes,
I'm
although
Mr. Guest and Pizza.
Yeah.
There we go.
Though I guess you haven't actually guested on anything that I've done on VidMe yet, have you?
I haven't. Well, I mean, if you want to include all the other stuff you uploaded, I
Well,
guested on
yeah.
quite a bit. Thank you very much.
I mean, there's legacy stuff that you've guested on, but never anything VidMe exclusive so far. So,
I mean,
that's exciting.
There's been very little I've done in the past 6 months, so I'm going to stand on the fact that, yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, you haven't particularly existed in recent history.
But music has.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that's consumed me, like some giant parasitic hungry slime.
Oh man, I love slimes.
Yes, you do! And technically so do I, so, I mean, slime love? Here, let's celebrate that popping open the champagne style, right? Like, there we go.
Oh man, that's totally something. So yeah, hey, how about you introduce yourself to like all the VidMe people? Tell them what you do on video creation related stuff.
Specifically video. Okay,
Yes.
nothing.
Nothing within the
y'all.
past 3 years.
Oh, jeez. My name's Austin on Sugar. We're here, and I don't do much on VidMe yet, but I might one day. I don't know. I'm not there yet. Generally speaking, you could call me a Let's Player, I guess, but I don't do a lot of traditional Let's Plays. I try to avoid those unless the games are particularly obscure.
Like Super Magnetic Neo.
Yeah, who's ever heard of Super Magnetic Neo? I mean, I have, but
Yeah,
like,
and I
besides
did
me-
whenever I saw your series on it.
Well, of course. In fact, I know only one other person who's ever even played the game, and that'd be Teshex. Other than him, no one I know has ever played the game. And yet, like, I thought it needed to be shared with the world, so I played through it and never finished that LP. But that's okay!
I mean, you finished at
Cubert-
least the main game.
Yeah, not could be said for Cubert, although I'll be getting to that eventually, I hope, I'm sure, maybe.
I mean, I just have to keep beating you in enough verses.
Yeah, eventually it'll beat me into submission. I like that.
Yeah.
But however you circle it, I tend to do off-kilter stuff involving Let's Play style creation. For example, Let's Breaks, which
Yes.
are essentially just exploring fun glitches, usually to serve some obscure purpose. Let's get as far as we can in this game without getting any upgrades. One of these days I want to do one of an RPG where I beat the final boss with an attack so low that I'm only doing 1 damage a turn to him. Just, kooky stuff like that doesn't really serve any purpose, but made me feel really accomplished as a 7-year-old, and I gotta justify that wasted time somehow. Let's
Yeah.
Breaks. Makes sense to me.
The probably the biggest one that you did was Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 without ever collecting the Light Dash.
And you can't get very far in Venture 1, or at least not as far as I'd like, because there's a lot of cool stuff you can show off afterwards, after the part I got stuck on. But you need the Light Dash to get past that.
Technically, you need the Light Attack
still-
to get past it.
Right. Well,
But-
no, I got the Light Attack. It's just that the Light Dash the Light Attack requires you to do a Light Dash towards an enemy. And she
Yeah.
means that literally. There's something so cool about that, and I love exposing that kind of programming stuff. In SA2, I didn't really get the chance to do that, but I got to show off a lot more fun with physics. And even showed off the super bounce, which I never did before I made that video. So, like, goofy stuff like that.
And of course, the two of us have done a variety of Versus series together. Which, I
Yes.
never
Yes.
did upload any of the Versus series to my VidMe. I always felt like those were always sort of a product of their time, if you know what I mean. Kind of like the Minecraft blogging series. Whenever
None.
whenever I uploaded the Minecraft blogging series, that was made for that specific moment in time, and yeah, that was it. Watching it afterwards is possible, but not really. It's not really intended for future viewings like most of my regular Let's Plays are. My idea with most Let's Plays is you can watch this several years down the line, and it'll still be as relevant as it was whenever it was first uploaded.
That's my philosophy with Let's Plays as well. If I'm going to do any kind of video that isn't like a live commentary, who I am while I'm experiencing the game kind of thing, since I do everything in post especially, to keep an air of professionality, I try to make everything I do timeless, which might be why time doesn't pass for me when it comes to oh, it's been 6 months and I haven't done anything in a while.
Yeah. Because, I did bring a lot of my old content over to VidMe, but there were a variety of things that I did skip out on. I skipped out on the Versus series, I skipped out on the other Ing series, Splatooning, Overwatching, TF2ing. I skipped out on... Actually, I think that was mainly it. But, yeah, all the things that I skipped out on were things that you really needed to watch as it was being uploaded to really appreciate it. If you watched any of those series later on, I mean, you probably could, but it wouldn't be as relevant to what was going on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But, so yeah, that's... Oh, 1 second. There's a zombie over here, and he's trying to break into my house. This is something that zombies can try to do. They'll try to bang on your door, but, if you're playing on anything lower than hard mode, they can't actually break it down. But on hard mode, they will actually break the door down after a while. So that's dangerous.
Are you home?
Yeah.
No.
I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Austin.
I'll come back later.
Yes?
Austin, tell everybody your experience with Minecraft.
I watched you play it a bunch.
And there we go. That's it.
Yeah! Now, I've looked into a couple things that people have done with it. I found stuff like, I don't know, somebody had found a way to either create a mod in Minecraft or just a server in Minecraft where there was an obstacle course that opened up a Mario Kart thing or something.
Yeah, people do a lot of stuff like that.
It was a really intricately well set up thing, and I was like, wow, you can do a lot in this game. I think the thing that blew my mind more than anything else was that apparently there is actually a way to set up circuit boards in the game.
Yep.
So it is technically possible to make any game in Minecraft with just a little modding work. And that's really scary.
Yeah. It is. It's really scary. Yeah,
I would love
remember,
to know the size of the circuit that would take, though, but whatever.
Yeah, I know that at one point, another person that we talked to is Zach, also known as Flarp, and for a while he was wanting to play through some of these Minecraft mods with me, and because some Minecraft mods are set up as little mini adventures, and they're specifically designed to present certain challenges and goals to players. Basically, they make Minecraft into a linear-ish game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, he was wanting to do some of those with me, but at that time, Minecraft wasn't working on my computer at all. So that didn't work. Couldn't really do that one.
Why was that, by the way?
I have no idea. I have no idea why that was. But,
and it just magically fixed itself one day?
Well, it wasn't so much magic as it was my computer died, and I revived it, and whenever I revived it, it worked again. I don't know what caused this to happen.
It's sort of a default of IRL the game, where whenever you revive something, it gains 10 of its magic stat points back, and then from there you could probably grind out more. So, I mean, you could do your little computer magic with Minecraft, or maybe Minecraft-adjacent gaming intrinsic computationalisms. There we go.
Yeah!
There we go. I'm so proud of that, and I shouldn't be at all.
Okay. Oh, hey, it looks like it's daytime outside again. Nice. It's raining a little bit, so that's cool. But yeah,
Minecraft is.
what?
Sorry, it's been a while. I didn't even realize that Minecraft had rain.
Yep, it
That's
sure
how long
does.
it's been. It's been a very long time since I've anythinged Minecraft.
Well, fortunately, this is Minecrafting, so we don't have to talk about the game.
Ah, yes, that's right. We're not playing Big Story right now. We're
No. We're talking about how much Kirby Mass Attack sucks.
Yeah. Hey,
Which-
speaking of Kirby, actually, speaking of Kirby, I don't think I've gotten your thoughts on that new game for the Switch yet.
You know, it's looking pretty good. That's there aren't a whole lot of concrete facts about the new Kirby game for the Switch yet. But it looks like some degree of combination powers are back, which I really like. It looks like you know, they have the helper system back from Return to Dreamland, or no, from Superstar. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, as long as it doesn't do the thing that Return to Dreamland did, where it made like going back through the levels again really boring. As long as it doesn't do that, I think we're in for an excellent Kirby game. Perhaps even the best Kirby game yet.
Well, for you, they just keep getting better.
Yes, this is true.
I'll be honest. I didn't even know that combo powers were a thing, but now that I do, that's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, they were.
Dark times.
I mean, they were Kirby 64's thing,
Right.
and now they're the new Kirby games thing too.
Do you think they're gonna make another pun like they did with Triple Deluxe? Triple Deluxe was probably my favorite pun though. Just because Kirby already has a character that is 3Ds.
Mhm.
So
And then
Sorry.
that game had DDD Tour.
yeah. Yeah, there we go. So there's Triple Deluxe and Triple D Tour. I'm
Yeah.
down with that.
Yep. So yeah,
Oh! D-Tour!
yeah.
Oh my god, I never got that! Oh, that's awesome! Oh, that's so good!
Yeah, it is.
Meanwhile, you get like Kingdom Hearts, and they're trying to be all symbolic, and they're like Kingdom Hearts, Dream Drop Distance. But no, that's where the real creativity is. It's in Kirby's silly, cute names. I love it.
It's a pun, Austin. It's good.
Oh,
Puns
I
are
know.
good. So so yeah, dude. You want to talk about that thing that we were talking about earlier?
Which thing we were talking about earlier? There's a lot that we were talking about earlier.
The Homestuck stuff. The Homestuck and
the stuff I know next to nothing about.
Yeah! Because then I can ramble about that for about an hour, and that'll take up an episode.
I guess.
So yeah, so guys, in case y'all don't know, which I'd imagine most people don't know, because most of you are probably relatively new viewers, you know, I typically like to associate with my friends with fictional things, because that's something that you can do. And, you know, I like a lot of different fictional worlds, and one of the cool fictional worlds that you can associate people with is Homestuck. And basically the idea of Homestuck is the characters play, it's a webcomic, and in that comic, characters play a fictional video game known as Esburb. And it's sort of a Jumanji-style scenario. They get sucked into the video game world, and they have to survive in Esburb, and if you die in Esburb, then you die in real life. And,
Game over, man. Game over.
yeah, really. And, you know, every character gets a title associated with them. They get a class and an aspect. And aspects are things like breath and blood, light and void, time and space, and they're basically something that the character controls. And then the aspect determines more how they control the aspect. Or the class determines how they control the aspect. So there's things like knights and seers and pages and sylphs and stuff like that. So of course, within the Homestuck fan community, it's always a big deal. Oh man, what's your class and aspect? Because you know you create fan characters, and it's basically the perfect storm for a self-insert scenario, essentially. And it was specifically created to be that, you know what I mean? Like, there are some series that the creators clearly created the world with the intent of people creating self-inserts. And that's the kind of world that Homestuck presents. And it does it really well. And so, you know, I often think, so hey, what class and aspect would this person have? And, of course, you know, I came up with one for myself, and I came up with one for you, and I guess now it's time to explain classes and aspects, everybody! Because that's what you came to a Minecraft video to see! The lore of an unrelated webcomic.
And how it might relate to individuals that are semi-IRL.
Yes, because that is
But
something...
not really, because I don't actually exist. I'm just a disembodied voice within your computer.
Yes. Just like all internet personalities. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So actually, I don't actually even know particularly where to begin, because, like, oh man, there's so many things in Homestuck, Austin. There are so many things! So, let's...
I mean, there are.
Yes, there are so many things. Like, you know, at one point, let me explain Homestuck to you was used jokingly as a threat by the fandom. Just because of
Okay.
how ridiculous and complex the series is. But, hey, yeah, I guess, let's just start at the beginning. What is mrgameandpie's class and aspect? Well, that, my friends, is the Sylph of Hope! Or, as many people consider the Sylph to be a female-exclusive class, you could also say, the Dock of Hope! Because, hey, yeah, the Sylph class is typically related to healing things. It's, you know, there's... Basically, everything tends to come in a pairing in Homestuck. Every class has an active and a passive version. The active version generally being used to help oneself, and the passive version typically being used to help others. Think support classes and offensive classes in RPGs or multiplayer games, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so the Sylph is the passive healing class, so it is super ultra support. And the aspect of Hope tends to deal with you know, hope. Oh man. It's a little bit literal there, but you know, the thing about aspects is that they tend to take the most literal interpretation of something and then expand on that as well. So obviously there is the emotion of hope, but then there's also things that relate to hope, like belief, or faith, or perhaps religious symbolism. These are all things that hope also deals with, and that hope players have control over to some extent or another. And so, you know, a Sylph of Hope might use the faith in their friends to heal them. Or, you know, maybe they believe in something, and they use their belief in something to heal someone. Like, oh man, I believe that this knife could totally heal somebody if I stab them with it. And you stab him with it, and then it does heal them. Because that's what the Hope player believes, so it works! Screw logic, who needs that? You know, it's that kind of situation. And,
I mean, I could definitely see that.
yeah. So it can be pretty silly. But yeah, basically the Sylph of Hope is a super supporty type class. Of course, you know, healing faith in something could also mean healing the hope of a situation. So it's like, oh man, there's no... Oh wow, this is a really big cave. Like, this is a really big cave. But yeah, like, you know, healing the hope for a situation could be like, oh man, this situation is hopeless. There's no way we could possibly get out of it alive. And then the Sylph of Hope does a thing that allows them to get out alive and allows them to, you know, persevere regardless. And typically, like, with all these aspects and classes and stuff, they do eventually appear as powers that the characters have, but they typically appear in non-power form, just things that you can mundanely do before appearing as a power that the character can utilize. So, like, the Sylph of Hope will be healing people's hopes without having to use any sort of power to do that. That's just sort of the person that they are, or the person that they'll grow to be if they grow as a person properly. You know what I mean? There's
I
character
like that
growth.
qualifier there.
Yeah.
If they grow properly.
Yeah, because the thing is that, I talked about how there's sort of counterparts to all of these things. Each of the classes has an opposite. Each class has an opposite as well. And basically, if characters don't grow properly, perhaps if they reject the way in which they're supposed to grow, reject their situation, then they can start behaving in the opposite class aspect combination than what they're supposed to. So, a Sylph of Hope could potentially act as a Prince of Rage, since Rage is the opposite aspect of Hope, and deals with such things as anger and a belief that there's only one way to get through things, and madness and similar concepts. And the Prince class is an active class that focuses on destroying things. So, it's the opposite. It's the opposite. But, yeah, so that's that class aspect combination. So, Austin, you want me to talk about, you want me to talk about the one that I came up with for you that I think is very fitting?
Oh, by all means, absolutely.
Alright, so you see, Austin, after having analyzed you for, like, I don't know, maybe a couple months after we met, I came to the conclusion that you would be an excellent Seer of Heart.
Wait, it was only a couple months? Really?
Maybe about a year. Because you see, Austin, that this wasn't exactly a very difficult deduction to figure out. So, you see, Heart players, they tend to have a sort of multiple identity sort of thing going on, which I figured suited you well since you often have multiple identities within your videos. You have Texty, and you had Cameron on Asbestos, and someone else. I know that you had somebody in your the series that we talked about earlier, but I don't remember what his name was.
Which one? You mean
the one that shoved you into the closet?
And now it's time for your favorite part of the Let's Play. Let's see how much Austin can fail with your host, Gary on Aspartame.
Yeah, that was it, Gary.
Never get over that. Gary, which I've just always been a fan of that. Didn't you bring up once this idea of Larry on fire? Because I always really appreciated that.
Yes, that was definitely something that I brought up. But, yeah, so, with all these different personalities, because Heart deals with the soul. And, it deals with different, it typically, characters that are Heart players have multiple selves, to some extent or another. Whether through role-playing, or perhaps cloning, or maybe robotic duplicates, or something like that, Just all sorts of ways for there to be multiple selves, in a sense. And, whenever not long after meeting you, I felt, hey, yeah, that's appropriate for Austin. And then, and now we know that, yep, that is appropriate.
Hey!
So, yeah, that was good. And, they also, they often typically have something or other to do with shipping. And of course, knowing your stance, knowing your stance on, relationships and stuff, that seems to be appropriate.
Yay!
Yay! And so,
Yay!
And so, yeah, the Heart players that we see. I mean, we don't actually get to see Heart players use their powers a whole lot, unfortunately, because most of the Heart players in the series tended to not be very in focus, if you will. Homestuck has a lot of characters, and so only so many of them... What?
That interests me, that, obviously, this is Homestuck and what Homestuck's about, and they really don't feature that many X, Y, or Z. That's a pretty neat idea to me.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, this
anyway,
skeleton.
Proceed, as you were.
Yeah, I mean, so... let's see. What else was I gonna say about it? Yeah, I always thought that. The seer class, because that is a thing. So the seer class is, as one might guess, a class that deals with gathering information and understanding their aspect and how it affects others and the world around them. And I think that I've always looked to you for concrete analysis of various concepts. So that
That was your first mistake.
so that definitely ties very effectively into the seer aspect. Who would have guessed? But there's also the fact that whenever I remember at one point, one of my assignments for one of my college classes, I took like a psychology class or something, and I asked several of my friends, you included, to read up on the MBI type that I had been given, which was INFJ. And, I gave several of my friends, like, what it was, gave it descriptions, and sort of, like, said, hey, do an analysis of how accurate you think this is, and most of my friends gave, like, maybe a sentence or two. But then you bring in, like, an entire gosh darn essay.
Well, I mean, the way you phrased it when you came to me, and again, my memory's beans, so don't quote me on any of this, but essentially it was something to the effect of like, hey, listen, I'm doing this project for school, and my friends kind of need to give me an analysis myself so I can have an outside hindsight 2020 perspective on my own self-being.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, so he needs some kind of an analytical dissertation dissecting his own personality. Cool. And I, like, dissected you to the best of my ability, which just so happened to fill about 3 pages. So...
And you did an excellent job, Austin. That's why you're the seer of heart.
Why, thank you.
I got a big old note on my paper. Next to your section, it said, excellent analysis! So, that's probably why I got an A on that paper. Actually, I already had a really good analysis on my own, but yes. Because I look into myself a lot. And you look into yourself a lot, so you do a good job.
Do I look into myself a lot? Let me check.
I'm pretty sure you do.
Oh, God, it's disgusting. Ew. Oh,
It's terrifying. Put that Freudian psychology representational stuff back in the closet where it goes.
It's funny because I always hear things from modern psychology essentially saying Freud's outdated and useless, and I'm like, yeah, but the concepts, that's like saying Darwin's outdated and useless. I mean, kind of,
Yeah.
but not really.
So yeah, that was silliness, and right now I'm just murdering things to get, like, resources and stuff. But yeah, that was... I mean, I guess we could talk about some of the other friends, but they're kind of not here right now, so that doesn't seem very appropriate.
Aw.
I know, you wanted to hear all about my analysis on George and whoever. Oh, this skeleton isn't burning
George
up.
and whoever.
Yeah. And
Do
Jordan.
I have other friends besides George?
I mean, there's Jordan.
Just the way you worded that. Well, look, I knew you had other friends. It's the way you said it that was like,
Yeah.
gosh, do I have other friends?
Yes. But, yeah, hey, that skeleton, he was wearing a helmet, so he wasn't burning alive in the sun. And, that's a thing. Sometimes monsters can wear armor. And, sometimes that armor can prevent them from death. And sometimes they can actually drop the armor, but that's actually pretty rare.